This meeting of the Caldwell County Board of Education is called to order. We are glad you're with us this evening. We want to welcome everyone and hope that your holiday season was great, that you had a wonderful Christmas, and that you're ready to go for the new year. And certainly we wish you a happy new year. And as far as the schools, we're testing this week at the high schools, and we're closing in on the midpoint of the year. So, we're hoping that all of our students get plenty of rest and are ready to go for the test they're taking this week. At this time, I'd like to mention, and many of you probably know, that Mrs. Inez Jones passed away last week, and her funeral was Saturday. She was a teacher here in Caldwell County. She was an assistant principal for a number of years, I think primarily, if not entirely, at West Caldwell High School. And she also represented the Board of Education for many years as an appointee to the Caldwell County Community College and Technical Institutes Board of Trustees. So we just wanted to mention that she was such a wonderful, wonderful person. And I worked with her for a number of years and got to see her work on a daily basis. She was absolutely fantastic. In addition to that, she's probably one of the best cooks that ever came through Caldwell County.
Absolutely.
So,
especially her cakes.
That's right.
Her cakes
That's
were to
right.
die for.
And I think her funeral is this coming Saturday.
Oh, this coming Saturday. I'm sorry. But what a wonderful person Inez was, and we certainly want to remember her family in our thoughts and prayers. Next item on the agenda is the invocation for the board. Tonight it being led by a fellow board member, Mr. Joe Sims.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for the safety of those who traveled here. Pray that you'll give us safety as we leave. Be with the board as we go through this meeting. Let us do things that would be pleasing to you. Let us keep the students' best interest in mind. Thank you for the season we just came through, and I pray that you'll keep your blessings on us as a school system. I pray that you just look after the families of the bereaved and just take care of them. Thank you for all you do. Amen.
Next, we have two students from High Brighton High School, Michael Mann and Cody Gregg. If you'll come forward, they're going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before you guys go there, tell us how you did on your exam today. Tell us what you made, Michael.
I made a 94 and you made a 90.
Oh, wonderful.
Congratulations.
Great job.
These fine young men are a part of the CIS program, Communities in Schools. I know Debbie Eller is here, and Donna Bradshaw is here as well, and Mrs. Tuttle, who is the teacher at High Brighton High School. So they do a great job, and thank you for sharing these two fellows with us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll see you Thursday.
And we'll be leaving to go, so I'm going home for exams tomorrow.
Okay. Next item is the approval of the agenda, which the board has had for a number of days here and had an opportunity to look over it and review it. Do I hear a motion we approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next is the approval of the minutes. Once again, you've had an opportunity to look over those minutes from our December 1 meeting, 2014, which was a regular board meeting. Do I hear a motion we approve those minutes of December 1, 2014?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December 2014.
Second.
Thank you. And a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next item is our honors and recognition. I'd like to recognize Ms. Libby Brown, Community Services Director, and the board will move down, as we usually do, to congratulate those winning awards.
Thank you, Chairman Pennell, school board members, and Dr. Stone. We have one recognition tonight, a very special recognition from Happy Valley School. We would like to congratulate Wesley Yates. And Wesley is an 8th grader at Happy Valley School who finished 3rd in the Junior Technology Engineering Division at the District 7 Regional Science and Engineering Fair. So he represents us well, and he will be competing in the state competition, and we're very proud of Wesley. So we would like to congratulate Wesley, and Chad Smith, his principal from Happy Valley School, is here tonight to support him as well. So congratulations to Wesley. Dad?
It's his award.
Yeah, that's nice. It's his moment. If you'll stay right there, Board of Education members, there is also another special recognition this month, in the month of January. It is the National School Board Recognition Month. So we'd like to extend our gratitude and thanks to each of you for your dedication on the Caldwell County Board of Education and your leadership and guidance in bringing us to success in the Caldwell County schools. And you have at your seat, I think, a little goodie bag filled with chocolates. So what more could you ask for? And a card from the wraparound students at Sawmills Elementary School. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment, and as of 4:30 this afternoon, we had received no public comment, so we'll move along. This time, I'd like to recognize our Superintendent, Dr. Steve Stone.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, if you'll look at Exhibit 2, we are asking for approval of the board policy revisions that have been made to the policy manual. These are, of course, recommendations from the North Carolina School Boards Association. They are in reaction to educational policy changes through DPI, through changes in federal law, and through the final changes that have been implemented by the North Carolina General Assembly in 2013. Most of the changes are basic languages or language stuff or changing the name of something. There are very little new pieces of information in here. We have had it out for 1 month public comment. We've received no public comments, so we would like to recommend approval of these board policy revisions. I'm sorry, we are putting them out for 1 month comment period.
Okay, you confused me for a
Yeah, that's why we have had no
minute.
public comment about them, because they haven't seen them yet. But, and again, for the public who may be watching or in our audience, we do put these on our website. So if you would like to see the revisions that are being made, we can certainly go to that. Go to the Board of Education policy revisions, and you can see them there. So we would like to put them out for 1 month comment period.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve these various revisions to our policy manual and place them on a 1 month comment period?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we put the proposed policy revisions in the policy manual on a 1 month public comment period.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments?
I was going to say, just if anyone wasn't clear, we have a lawyer at the North Carolina School Boards Association whose main job in life is to keep on top of all these policies. And so these don't just come out of thin air. They're very carefully worked through and thought out and sent on to us as one of the services of the State School Board Association.
Very good. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next on the agenda is Associate Superintendent for Human Resource Services, Dr. Trish Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Stone, I have several items for your attention this evening, beginning with Exhibit 3. Exhibit 3 includes usual and customary personnel items for your information only, requiring no action. Exhibit 4 includes usual and customary personnel items that require action. I respectfully recommend approval of the items that have been presented to you.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the usual and customary personnel matters that you have had an opportunity to review?
I move that we approve the usual and customary personnel information that we have reviewed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you. Exhibit 5, student transfers. Since your last board meeting, we had 23 requests for students transfers submitted. Of the 23 submitted, 22 meet established criteria. I respectfully recommend approval of the 22 requests for transfers that's been submitted. If approved tonight, that would bring our total transfer approvals for the year 563. I respectfully recommend approval of the transfer request.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the 2014-2015 student transfers as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion we approve the 2014-2015 student transfers as presented.
Is there a second?
Second motion.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Dr. Johnson, I have a question. In regard to 2015-16, is the transfer period already open?
It has opened.
Has it? Okay. All right, thank you.
And it's a close date of March.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Exhibit 6 is our recommended differentiated pay plan. I will defer to Dr. Stone, who will address comments.
We've received 7 comments basically from staff members about the plan. And Dr. Johnson and I have looked over the comments, and certainly you all have a copy of them as well. I think we forwarded them on to you. Basically, there are several items that are of concern to the folks who responded. The major one, I think, is using test scores or using an EBOS score that's generated by the test, one particular test. A lot of concern. As a matter of fact, most of the 7 comments had to do with the use of that testing requirement. Unfortunately, I wish we could have some other option than that, but that is required by the state law that be a component of the plan. So, and that's the standard that the state requires, which is standard 6. So that component cannot be taken out of our plan because it's a requirement of the plan. There's a couple of interesting comments that came in that Tricia and I would like to look at a little bit more, maybe as we revise our plan next year, has to do with the benefit for hard-to-fill positions, the bonus pay that you get up front. Maybe look at tiering that so it's not all at one time. There's kind of not only do we get you, but we keep you for a couple of years as well. The signing bonus, I believe it is. Most of the other comments applaud the board for looking at something like attendance, but have questions about how we would be able to monitor that. And I imagine that's going to be something a little difficult for us, and we'll have to build in some criteria about what's an excused absence or an absence for teachers, professional days, and those kinds of things. So we'll certainly have to make that clearer. The issue, of course, is in here about whether or not there will be enough money, the amounts of money that will be there to be an incentive for people for attendance and those kinds of things. And again, a lot of this will depend on the North Carolina General Assembly. They have put $1 million into the fund for merit pay or differentiated pay. They've also created, the Lieutenant Governor has created a vanity license plate plan. I don't know if that's rolled out yet, but that should, the idea behind that vanity plate is to generate some dollars for this particular merit pay. We are required by January the 15th to submit a plan to the North Carolina General Assembly. Tonight's plan is not perfect. Tonight's plan will require us to go back and look at it and iron out some of the problems, but in order for us to meet the deadline of getting it to the state by the 15th, and having the components that are required by the state, we'd like to submit this plan as is, understanding that there's a lot of hold your nose and vote for it kind of pieces to it, particularly the testing component. But it is, of course, a requirement for the North Carolina General Assembly. So it's a good plan. I compliment Trish and all the folks. We've spent probably 6 months looking and having folks come in and looking at this plan. So not a
More
year.
like 6 weeks.
Six weeks, excuse me. A lot of work that's gone into put it, though. We've had a lot of people come to the table. So would like to recommend approval of the plan.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the differentiated pay plan, which is available to us after a 1-month comment period?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion, that we submit the plan.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Any questions or comments?
Look, I have a comment. Will this be subject to being, can be changed if, in fact, there is? I never read the comments sent in by the people until it came in on my agenda. So I wasn't aware of that. And there was some very good comments made for those and something to think about. So I hope that it's not set in stone, because I think there are some things that can be tweaked.
Right. And I'll tell you, Ms. Coffey, what happens to this plan after it goes to the North Carolina General Assembly, we really don't know. It's a requirement of the law. The North Carolina General Assembly can take all 115 districts' plans and say, here's your $100,000, do your plan. Or it may take, because we really don't know what they're going to do, they may take one of the 115 and say, this is a great plan, and we're going to implement it for all of you.
Yeah.
So they reserve that right, because it is going back to the North Carolina General Assembly. But to your point of whether or not we'll be able to refine ours, I think if we'll be able to have a chance to come back at the end of every opportunity for it, if we have some say in it, I think we will have the ability to modify it. And it is not, it's not the perfect plan, and I applaud those 7 teachers who responded back to it, and I wish there was something we could do or actually have more money put into the plan, but a lot of it would depend on the state. But I think we can modify it. I don't think it's a set in stone plan.
Oh, no, it can be modified at any point in time.
And there's no guarantee it's going to be available even after this year.
Right. Some of that's going to depend on the money.
No guarantee that it's available this
Right,
year.
at all.
That's true.
So,
What are we talking
so-
about, $1 million in
That's all they
115
set
districts?
aside.
Yeah.
That's all they've set aside.
So-
But I hadn't heard much more about it.
Yeah, I don't even know if the vanity plates are even available yet. I haven't heard, but I think it's I Love Teaching or I Love Teachers will be the vanity plate, and all that extra that goes for the vanity will go toward this fund. And it may not even be funded next year. I just know the $1 million's been put into it by the 2012-13 General Assembly.
I appreciate the work that you did, and I appreciate the responses that the teachers that sent it, because it opened my eyes a lot, because I actually called in and spoke with Dr. Stone and Dr. Johnson about some of the questions on there, but, I feel that as a board, if we don't get something in, we're out of luck.
Compliance.
So at least we can get something in and then try to work, if they allow us to make it better for those involved.
That's usually an issue because we're bound by state rules, and a lot of people don't understand that, our time frames that we have to comply with. So it makes it hard on us as a board because we have dates we do have to go by. But I don't think I got a copy of the comments until the agenda, and I read over them after I got them, and there were some really good points, and the attendance thing, giving incentives for attendance. Teachers have days that sick days and other things that they're off with pay, and I didn't really see us having to reward them for being in their classroom 95 to 98% of the year. But good points I thought that was sent in, so I do appreciate those too.
Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you,
send it
Dr.
off to
Stone.
the General Assembly, and we'll see what they do with it. There's no telling what we'll get back, though. We may have Winston-Salem Forsyth's plan, but we are in compliance with the law, so.
And there's no guarantee even that we'll get anything this year,
So,
or if this year, maybe not next year.
But we met the law. We have our plan here.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Johnson. And next, we're going to move along to Mr. David Johnson, who is the Finance Director. I'm sorry, we're Dr. Jeff Church, Associate Superintendent for Auxiliary Services.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Stone. West Caldwell Health Council is currently building a new Colville medical facility, medical center, and they've learned, upon construction, they've learned that their soil and location is not suitable for a drain field, and they are requesting for us to allow them to pump their sewer into our Collinsville sewer treatment plant. Exhibit 7 is an agreement allowing them to do this. And I respectfully request that we approve that agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the West Caldwell Health Council sewer line agreement as presented to us.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any question or comment?
I know we had a facilities meeting, and there's plenty of room in our sewer system for that,
Right.
right?
Even with the addition,
Right.
we're still
Still.
at right at 21% capacity. So we have
And also, it'll help us in
79%.
the summertime, too, to keep it flushed out. kind of.
Correct. Yes, sir. It'll be a benefit to us.
Right, just so everybody understands, we're at 21% and the anticipated level at going to with adding this facility.
That's adding that
That's
facility,
adding-
we're
yeah,
at
it's
21%. Correct.
So we're,
We flow roughly 2,000 gallons a day, and they would be looking at adding 810 gallons on average.
Any other comments or questions?
Well, also just to note, we are built into this that if we had to, we could get out of that lease.
Correct.
With them. I mean, obviously, it doesn't seem like we're gonna need that, but
Correct.
you never know what the future holds.
Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Church.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Now, Mr. Johnson, Mr. David Johnson, our Finance Director.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Stone. The first thing I've got tonight is two amendments. One is for State Public School Fund and the other is for the Federal Grants Fund. State Public School Fund is an increase to our budget of $591,599. It is through revision 17 of the State Public School allotments. It includes a transportation additional allotment of $543,685. Several allotment categories increased or decreased based on the actual charter school enrollment. That's the second part of it. The third part of that revision includes substitute pay reimbursement through September. The second budget amendment that I have tonight is for the Federal Grants Fund. It includes additional allotments for PRC 101, PRC 119, which is targeted assistance, and PRC 82, which is an IDA program, and also other transfers requested by the directors. That total amount of that amendment is $82,404. If approved tonight, that'll bring our total budget, including child nutrition, to $120,040,523.63.
All right, do I hear a motion that we approve the budget amendments to the State Public School Fund as well as the Federal Grant Fund?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion we approve the budget amendments to the funds as listed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments, any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, great. The next thing I have are two additional deferred compensation plans that I would like to have added to our plan document. One is for the state 457B plan. We have some employees that are interested in that plan. That would become effective immediately if approved. And like I said, this is for, the resolution part of this one is actually to add the North Carolina Public Employee Deferred Compensation Plan under our plan document. And this, again, is the state's 457B plan. The second thing for consideration is the approval to add the state's 403B program. This program was enacted by House Bill 730, which authorized the state treasurer to establish a centralized retirement plan. Currently, that plan is with TIA Craft. Currently, in Caldwell County, we have Robinson and Associates and they are part of the state advisor network for the state 403B program. TIA Craft would prefer to only have TIA Craft, and we would eliminate other programs. In their handout, they state that that makes it easier for employees to choose a plan. However, I feel that it also limits what employees can contribute and participate in. So it'd be my recommendation that we continue our current relationship with Robinson Associates while adding the state's 403B plan to our current offering. And it also, with Robinson Associates, it limits the traffic in and out of the schools, and I think the principals, employees are appreciative of that. And I think Libby can vouch for me as how many people we've had and their persistence to gain access to our schools, and we really would like to limit that for the sake of the principals and the teachers, employees.
And these are outside vendors that want to meet with the whole staff, you know.
Yeah, even though it's outside of the instructional day, it still poses a problem with not necessarily planning periods, but at staff meetings.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the resolution regarding the 457B as well as the 403B plan?
I make a motion we approve that resolution regarding the 457 and the 403B plans.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions, comments?
And these will just be added to our current plan doc.
So it's
Right.
an additional
Mhm.
benefit.
It'll be, yeah, an additional offering employees can choose from.
Okay, very good. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next item on the agenda is I think all the board members, we have talked about this and discussed it, and you have a copy of the board committees that has been assigned for the next, for the year 2015. So that is basically just for your benefit to look at and to know who are on those various committees with you. So you should have a copy of that.
And
Now-
again, this will be on our website, so the
Yes.
public can have a copy of our committee structure.
Next, Dr. Stone, do you have any
Sure.
additional information?
I do. Kathy's going to bring up a PowerPoint. I'll be very quick on this. But this was shared with the state superintendents by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. It is sort of the blueprint of where the Department of Public Instruction is hoping North Carolina school districts will go over the next couple of years. It is a part of the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction strategic plan. And while we're talking about that, I would like to invite members of the board, members of the audience, to a February 20th strategic planning meeting for Caldwell County Schools. That'll be from 8 to 11, February the 20th. It'll be at Brighton High School, and we will be looking at our own strategic plan. I wanted to share this with you from the state board. The state superintendent's gone over this a couple of times and wanted to make sure you had a chance to see it. But she wanted to talk about the ways in which education in North Carolina was going to change, moving from traditional to digital. That's just a nice picture of the one-room schoolhouse that we don't see much of anymore. A couple of components to it. One is time mastery and competency. Where the state wants to go over the next 5 years is less about what you accomplish in a year or what you accomplish in a semester. It's what you accomplish and when you accomplish it and moving you on to the next level. We have traditionally been built into semesters, years. You finish 5th grade, everybody finishes it in June the 10th. Well, the state wants to move more toward, when you finish the material of 5th grade, you actually begin to work on the next year's material. So how that looks in reality may be a little bit difficult to picture, but that's where the state wants to go. Instead of seat time, or time that you are in your seat, it's really more time when you have completed and have competency in that particular subject. They also want to move away from the one-room schoolhouse, or the schoolhouse being the only place in which you can get that information, more toward an anytime learning anywhere. So we know that is already occurring throughout Caldwell County and throughout the state. You don't have to necessarily be sitting in that classroom at 10:30 on a Tuesday. You can be at home accessing digital learning. A lot more anytime, on-demand learning. Move from a one-size-fits-all, which is the traditional model, to personalized learning, which is something I think the state of North Carolina has been moving toward and has been successful with. Also moving from where you have the teacher in the front of the room, the sage on the stage, and move more toward the teacher directing the instruction to more where the kids embrace that instruction and are child-centered or student-centered instruction, where they take responsibility for their own instruction. Move away from textbooks. That's going to be a hard sell. I know that when I went to school, Mom would always ask me for my books when I get home. Well, moving away from textbooks and from the printed page to something more digital ebooks and those kinds of things is where the state wants to move. Textbooks have become so expensive, and I'm also sorry to say that the digital e-editions are becoming expensive as well, but that's the move for this state. We want to move away from one big test, which is what I think our teachers would appreciate, that end of the year summative evaluation, that big test that our kids are taking now in high school for the semester, and move more toward a formative, where students are actually judged on their growth and judged on their performance throughout the school year versus that big old end of the year test in Math 1. Move away from the reliance on the interim reports and the report cards and the teacher conferences, more toward parent portals. And with Power School, we are beginning to see this in place where parents can actually go on to our website and see how their child's performed in real time. You can see whether or not your child is in 2nd grade, and you can see it pretty soon after 2nd grade attendance, 2nd period attendance is taken. So again, the state's already made some inroads into more and better ways to get that information out to parents instead of the traditional methods. And also much more reliance on project-based learning, which is a part of a move that we've been working on in Caldwell County Schools for some time. I think that's it. But I wanted you to see, this has been presented 3 or 4 times at the state superintendent's meeting, so we would have a feel of where the state is trying to go on the Department of Public Instruction with education. So as we began to look at our plan in February, and as Carol and the EPS staff began to develop that, we'll certainly want to incorporate some components of the state, or many components of the state. Any questions on that? All right, thank you.
We might also want to mention that on the 29th, Dr. June Atkinson is going to be in Caldwell County at the Early College, and she's going to be there. She is the Superintendent of Public Instruction, and she's going to be in our county to recognize the Early College, certainly as being a blue ribbon school, 100% graduation last year, and also to recognize Candace Hageman as a winner of the Terrell Bell Award, making her one of 8 principals in the entire nation to win that award. So Dr. Atkinson will be in town on the 29th, I believe it is.
And we don't quite have the time yet, but I think it's around the 9:30. She's going to try to catch it when there are some kids and a lot of the students there at the early college. And she wants to just come and congratulate the school and Candace.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Stone. Next item on the agenda is the board needs to go into closed session. Do I hear a motion from anyone that we move to closed session?
I'll make a motion that we move to closed session.
Second.
Okay. All those in.
And if I could just add that we need to add the language pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318- period 11A3. possible litigation.
If possible, could we get a quick update from Dr. Church? I meant to ask him on the schedule for the new school, just.
And we're moving right along. The rain's really not helping us right now, but we do have portions of it. The front part, the cafeteria area, the office area, the gym area are under roof, so we're able to, heat and air is working in there. The goal before the rain hit was to have everything on the roof by the end of the month, so it might be a little bit in February. So once everything's on the roof, we keep going. Coming right along.
Good.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before we go into closed session two, I want to just mention one thing for the benefit of our public who may be here. A number of us had a chance to go out to Oak Hill last week and enjoyed dinner with the Oak Hill Ruritan Club, and just the phenomenal $5,000 that they've given to Oak Hill to pursue the technology at Oak Hill. So just want to, I saw the gentleman back,
Mr. McDonald.
Mr. McDonald back, and I wanted to personally thank him for that and for the invitation out to Oak Hill. We enjoyed it. Great meal. If you ever get a chance to go to Oak Hill Ruritan Club, you should go, right?
The food is great.
Get a good dinner.
Okay, we have not yet voted to go into closed session. Do I hear, all those in favor of going into closed session, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We will go into closed session and we'll return. There will be no action when we return on any item. So we thank you very much for being here this evening, and have a good evening.